Well, it's a very long story as I told you. My mother one evening decided that she wouldn't want to cook no hard food. She said she would only want to have some tea. So I said to her, yes, mama, some hot cocoa tea, yeah?
Yeah.
And from that, they just stuck out and think.
Yeah, well, many of us would probably end up with that name too because we all love cocoa tea.
I'm joined with the shot man from Clarendon. Sweet, cocoa tea. Welcome back to the Spot Invasion. How you doing?
Spot I invade every time you don't want to play. Giving thanks to the Most High for there,
When you went into your classics, the people them out there singing tune for tune, line by line, word by word. You've been doing this for decades, cocoa tea.
Yeah.
How you been doing this and just giving the people them those hot performances every time?
At the pause of the Most High, You don't know from your nose, boy, you live clean. And you have the pause of the Most High. You come to perform for the people and from your heart. Because if the art is not there, then the people won't be there.
Yeah.
Like Dennis Brown said, when two arts beat together, it's like an everlasting song. And that's going out there, they have to sing.
Hello everybody, you're welcome back again to the Reggae Appreciation Society. Hot chocolate, or cocoa tea, as generally referred to in Jamaica, is a popular Caribbean beverage, but music fans know it better as the stage name of one of reggae's most beloved performers and sweetest singers, not to mention one of the most consistent and relevant reggae artists of his generation. He's been rated as being one of the best in terms of stagecraft, with energetic performances that always provokes ecstatic responses from the crowds he plays for, thanks to his joyous voice and infectious charm. Since his discovery by legendary dancehall producer Henry John Joe Laws, Cocoa Tea has become one of very few dancehall stars to carve out a long-lasting productive career, which began as a dancehall DJ and has since evolved into a heavily conscious roots artist over the years. His cool-toned, laid-back vocal style were perfect for sweet, smooth lovers rock and gave him a distinct identity from his fellow artists, also under the management of Henry John Joe Laws, like Yellowman, Billy Boyo, Ika Mouse, and Ranking Toyan, who all wielded a more boastful, aggressive, and in-your-face style. But while he excelled at lovers rock, he could also switch up and toughen up his sound when it came to addressing serious, socially conscious issues. In fact, his biggest single, Rikers Island, was a wake-up call to Jamaican immigrants in New York. After 4 decades in music, he's remained one of the most admired and sought-after reggae artists. Cocoa Tea was born Calvin Scott on September 3rd, 1959, in Rocky Point, a small fishing village in Jamaica's Clarendon Parish. Like many musicians, he got introduced to music in the church and started singing in the choir. His amazing talent also got him a spot in the school choir, and singing quickly became part of him. Jamaica in those days was overflowing with talented youth, many of whom never got discovered or even the opportunity to record a song. But young Calvin, by accident of fate, got discovered in the most unexpected way at the age of 14. In 1973, the most popular and hottest musical act out of Rocky Point was a group called the Rockydonians. Their exploits had reached the ears of Kingston-based singer and producer Willie Francis, who took a trip down to Rocky Point to see for himself how good the guys really were and to hopefully take them back to record some music in Kingston. Incidentally, one of the Rockydonians was Cocoa Tea's brother-in-law, and being an aspiring singer, he used to hang out with them all the time after school. It was during that period that Willie Francis heard young Calvin singing. Francis ended up taking him back to Kingston along with the Rockydonians, but ended up recording only Calvin on a song called Searching in the Hills. The song got decent airplay but didn't take Calvin's career anywhere, and he ended up going back to his mother's home in Rocky Point. This experience was motivation for him to keep honing his craft, and he began to hustle to sing at every sound system event that came to his district. He practiced endlessly to improve his style and eventually began to write his own songs. As time passed, he became a star in Rocky Point and was getting noticed in neighboring towns. After finishing high school, he took up a job as a racehorse jockey, but after a while, he found that it was taking too much of his time and not allowing him work on his music, so he quit and took up the more flexible job of fisherman. He's given credit to those 2 jobs for equipping him with qualities that would prove valuable later in life, as he developed his tenacity and patience. In those days, his strong love for hot chocolate earned him the nickname Cocoa Tea at home. His friends also began to call him by that name, and eventually the name caught on even with his audiences at sound systems all over Clarendon. He had also adopted the Rastafarian faith and began to grow his dreadlocks. Exactly 10 years since recording Searching in the Hills, a sound system called Volcano High Power came to play in his area. This sound system was owned by the now legendary dancehall producer Henry John Joe Laws and had a famous selector in a popular DJ called Borough Banton. Cocoa Tea stepped up to show his skills on the microphone, but Borough Banton was reluctant to give it to him. According to Cocoa Tea himself, because he was dressed in rags, while all the other aspiring singers were well dressed. Banton eventually allowed him to get on the microphone, and once he got on it, they couldn't get him off the stage, as the audience went crazy at his performance, and the show was a big hit that night. Borough Banton was so impressed that he took him back to Kingston to meet with John Joe. Now in Kingston, Cocoa Tea got his first taste of the star power he would be mingling with when Banton took him to hang out on a street called Myrie Lane. He was starstruck to find that also chilling on the street corner with their spliffs were big artists like Yellow Man, Billy Boyo and Josie Wales. Eager to impress, he sang one of his songs for them and made a huge impression as an artist to look out for in the future. Josie Wales in particular was blown away and famously said, "Little youth, sing no more, cause any man that can make me dance without a rhythm must get big in the world." It proved to be a big sign of what was to come. And in 1984, he recorded his first song for John Joe Laws titled Rockin' Dolly. It immediately became a hit and was followed by a string of other hit songs like I Lost My Sonia, Informer, and Can't Stop Cocoa Tea. He released his debut album, Mr. Cocoa Tea, in 1985 and made a big splash in the market. However, it would mark the end of his partnership with John Joe Laws, as the producer soon after moved his operation to New York. Cocoa Tea then moved over to legendary producer Prince Jammy. This move to Prince Jammy coincided with his shift towards heavier Rastafarian and socially conscious lyrical themes in his music. He enjoyed a prolific spell at Jammy's studio and churned out a sizable amount of his best known material, including albums like The Marshall in 1986 and Come Again in 1987. The title track on the album Come Again is among the most popular Cocoa Tea songs and a huge fan favorite. His success and high rate of productivity was as a result of the great rapport and friendship that he built over the years with Bobby Digital, the chief sound engineer at Jammy's studio. Both men maintained their relationship until Digital passed away in 2020. In 1990, he released his smash album Rikers Island. The album's title track, Rikers Island, was also a roaring success as a single and is his most popular song till date. Cocoa Tea said in an interview that he's performed the song at every concert and show since its release 33 years ago. The track is one of those songs that combines being really enjoyable and catchy while at the same time packing a heavy message. It was an instructive tune advising Jamaican youth who come to New York to stay on the straight and narrow path and avoid being sent to the infamous Rikers Island prison. Incidentally, Henry John Joe Laws was at that time serving time at Rikers Island for narcotics charges. Aside from his talent, one of the main ingredients of Cocoa Tea's longevity and sustained relevance is his ability to move with the times and work with producers that continually bring out the best in him. His next major hit album was Good Life, produced by legendary reggae producer Philip Fatis Burrell, who was arguably the greatest producer of the digital age of reggae music. He maintained his great level of success and popularity, with Burrell producing hit albums like 1996's Israel's King, 1997's Holy Mount Zion, and 1998's One Way, all released under Fatis Burrell's Exterminator Records. Cocoa Tea has kept churning out great music and draws a huge crowd in major reggae concerts, festivals and events around the globe, and has dedicated himself to speaking up about the sharp decline in quality of reggae and dancehall over the years. This has motivated him to identify and support quality up-and-coming artists. He famously introduced dancehall sensation and eventually Grammy winner Koffee at the Rebel Salute in 2018. The introduction got tongues wagging as many onlookers thought that Koffee was the daughter of Cocoa Tea. After 40 years, the music business has seen many dancehall artists rise and fade, but Cocoa Tea has stood the test of time. As he puts it, he never really blew up and burst. His career instead has been a slow and steady leak of air, and he's dedicated himself to consolidating his Rasta values to leave a better climate for the new generation of upcoming artists. It's small wonder that everybody loves Cocoa Tea. So there you have it. Thank you for watching the video today. Please leave a like, subscribe, and until next time, Jah bless.